KFAN program. I'm Common. He's 10 to be. Excited and delighted to be joined by the legendary one. Formerly of Channel 4 Sports. Is your whole life just sports? Mark Rosen joins us now. And
hold on, I told you. We got some technical difficulties, so I told you to tap dance for a little bit.
Oh, I didn't hear that. I didn't have my headset.
Hold on.
I can do my best Fred Astaire, whatever you need to do. Generally, I'll make an exception this time because we're in a technical problem. I don't like to talk about myself, but it makes me uncomfortable. But I can certainly do that if you'd like me to. I'm more anxious to talk to Rosen about my appearance at Dunkers today. See what he has to say about that, because I know he's a big Dunkers guy. I don't know if there'll be a little envy and jealousy there, because I don't think there's any chance he's ever been invited to Dunkers, but we'll find out when he does join us, if he does indeed do it with StreamYard. I talked earlier about the Twins and buyers or sellers, and since coming out of the All-Star break, I think they were a game under 500. 2 games out of first place, I think. Already sitting in a wild card playoff spot. And the discussion's been, will the Twins be buyers or sellers? Every year they're always selling. And then last year was the biggest sell-off ever. I mean, it was like everything must go. I mean, it was everybody described it as a fire sale. And the franchise was certainly burning to the ground. And it was as bad as it's been. Off-season rolls around. Joe Pola has been running the club. Tom takes over. And Tom was very honest about it. He had an interview with the Fish Wrap East West Athletic, maybe all of them. I don't remember which one. He basically said, it caused some problems between me and my younger brother. We basically said, Joe, you're out. We're in, you're out. And so he took over. Tom was, he was surprised that the Twins, their over-under was pretty low, 70-plus games. He admitted the family needed to do some, I like to call it fence mending with the fan base. And they got up to a game under 500 is not great, but from where the team was, and then because they just, by hook or by crook, the division is so weak, as is the league, that they're right there. They win the first game coming out of the All-Star break, and then it's just been a couple of bad starting pitching performances. The offense just hasn't been what it was. And now, of course, we went from hoping, at least I was, I was thinking, look, my whole philosophy was, my read of the situation was, and we're going on the phone instead.
Yeah, we can do the phone today.
Can you punch him up there for me? Then I don't know how I'll hang up on him if I don't. You know me in technology. Legendary one.
Hey.
How are you?
A little technical snafu.
Is it on your end or our end, do you think? Is it operator error on your end or our end, or don't you know?
I have no idea. Just apparently there was a bit of a delay, so Tana thought it'd be best to just call to the hotline.
Yeah, well, here you are.
So it is what it is. Hopefully a couple days from now I'll be driving. So
no, you think it could be a couple of days?
Well, I'm working on it. I mean, it's sort of like go down to the garage, get in my car, hobble down there with my cane, and then do the exercise from the gas pedal to the brake. Just kind of doing back and forth. And I work on those exercises a lot anyway, and I'm getting pretty close. Okay. I'm actually pretty confident I could probably do it here in a couple of days, but got to get the okay from the man, and then be rearing to grow.
From the man upstairs, or from who?
Yeah, the man upstairs. No, my PT guy.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this: Have you ever considered one of those self-driving automobiles?
I have considered that. I've not seen one. They scare me to death. I don't understand the concept of how it works with not only somebody brakes in front of you immediately or a pedestrian or the lights changing. I mean, they just scare me. I've not seen one in operation here in the Twin Cities, and no. The answer would be no. I'd rather Uber, but I would not take a self-driving car.
Well, I think I'm becoming a convert. Not a convict, but a convert.
Oh, yeah?
Well, when I was in San Francisco, they're everywhere. They're called.
Oh, I know they are.
They're called Waymos. And I realized why they call them that. They go because it's way more expensive than an Uber. It costs you a lot more. But I watched them, and there are 700 of them, over 700 of them.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
wow.
we took one Uber. I never did do a Waymo. We took one Uber. You walk everywhere in San Francisco. At least we did. Anywhere we went, we pretty much walked. 20 blocks here, 15 blocks there, 10 blocks there. It's not that tough to do. And weather's always cool, so it's nice.
It is.
But anyway, the Uber guy, I talked about this on the air. You weren't here that day, or I didn't talk about while you were on with me. Uber guy said there's 700 of them there, and he says it cuts into Uber fares by 30%. 30%.
Oh, my
That's how much it
God.
takes. Yeah.
Wow.
It's a real competition. But I was thinking the same thing. You watch them go down the road, they got Jaguars. And there's little like, there's like a, what are those things called where they're on a little stick and look like a star and you spin it and it twirls around?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I wish I knew the name of it. They've got all sorts of those on the car. There's things spinning around. Have you ever seen like radar or lightning detector systems at golf courses?
Sure.
It looks like that sticking up at the top. It's weird to look inside and see nobody behind the wheel. But when I would watch them, they never took chances. They stood at traffic lights. They waited for cars to clear. When you talk about knowing when to stop, nowadays, like I'm driving one of those Chevy Equinoxes, okay? And it's newer. And there's the seat will vibrate when you're too close to the car in front of you, and it will lock up. It will break your car. It's almost like
Are you kidding?
Oh gosh! Now we don't. It's not.
Yeah.
What I have is not a self-driving car, but it has all sorts of safety measures. So we're getting to that point where eventually, I think that's what we're.
I think it's. I don't know where we are in the Twin Cities with Waymo, if there is such a thing here yet. But I mean, the other big concern is, the bicycle lanes going both ways. I mean, near my place over here, if you don't look to your right, which is kind of, not the place you really normally would look, there's a bike lane that goes both ways. So in other words, before you get out in the traffic and you're really just looking to the left because you want to make a right turn, there could be a bicyclist coming steaming down there and they're not paying attention to you. They think that you're looking at them. And all of a sudden, you've got to slam the brakes on because they're going by and flipping you off because you're not paying attention to them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not easy. You got to have eyes in the back of your head these days. So that's another reason why Waymo would scare me a little bit.
Well, we've had this discussion many times, and no reason to go down down this path again. Speaking of bike paths, but I think part of it is I don't mind if people are. Bikes on the road, that's fine, whatever you want to do. I just don't know why they trust the driver so much. You'll be in like in Woodbury, for instance, you'll be going down Bailey Road, 2 lanes at a lot of spots, and the only place they can drive is on that little white line just before the shoulder. And when you go by them, there's not more than an arm length between you and the person. It's like, do you really trust people that they're not looking at their cell phone or distracted or whatever? I mean, and if I know you have the right to do it, you have the right away, but maybe they can say that in your eulogy when you've been killed by a distracted driver. I just think it's insane. But people do it all the time, and I know they have the right to be on the road, and more power to you. But, man, you wouldn't catch me doing that. Never in a million years. I'm sorry, man. I can't do it.
No. There's sometimes an arrogance that people have when they're riding bikes. They think they have the road, and I have all the respect in the world for people who get around that way, especially saving money and doing whatever it might be. But you have no more right to that road as anybody else, and that's the difficulty with people. And then you got the little scooters that are going around. They get in the middle of traffic, and oh my God, I'm glad I'm not driving. They should go back to that premise.
Here's a text message that says, from 1890 until about a month ago, the most well-known Wounded Knee involved a battle in South Dakota. Now that's been supplanted by resilient Rosen's courageous battle against his own, more historically significant Wounded Knee and the subsequent remarkable recovery. Think about it. Remarkable.
Well, Maury Amsterdam guy knows his history.
How did you know it was Maury Amsterdam guy? How did you know that?
Because it was very clever, number one, using the Wounded Knee comparison. Very, very good. Very, very, and that's something Larry Mandela guy would not come
That's
up with.
Exactly right. Larry Mandela guy doesn't have that funny bone in his knee.
Well,
thank you.
Very good. Thanks, Maury.
You saw it, I'm sure. Sunday, Ant had been participating in something called Fan Fanatics or something. They do, trading cards and such.
Right.
LeBron was there. He was there. He was asked by an ESPN reporter about his chances of coming to the, have you tried to talk him into coming? What do you think? And Ant says he's not coming. I've seen the list. We ain't on it.
The top three. Yep.
Yeah. What do you make of that? Do you think that Ant's just talking? Do you think Ant really saw a list? Is he making up as he goes along? Did he see a list and LeBron didn't think he'd say anything and he kind of let the cat out of the bag or the ant out of the bag? What do you think?
I think it was such the question came out of nowhere. I don't think Ant was saying to himself that quickly, like, man, I better throw the disguise up here and throw him off the scent. I'm going to say something that to keep him off the scent of Minnesota. No, I just think he probably either did see a top three, heard about it, felt it in his gut, whatever it might be, and I don't think it was any deception on his part. I think he's probably telling the truth that there's probably down to those three teams, and LeBron continues to wait, and whatever reason his agent said today, and it's his call. We're telling teams, if you're looking to sign somebody else, go sign somebody else. I'm not. LeBron's doing it in his own timetable, and he's mentioned that his I think it's 11-year-old daughter that he's got a lot of friends in the LA area. It's a whole type of look. People deal with this stuff. Normal people deal when they don't have any say in the matter, getting transferred from one city to another and uprooting your family and having your kids in particular having to start over with a whole new set of friends and schools and everything else. So, I mean, LeBron is using that as a reason because your 11-year-old daughter, if you got a lot of friends in the LA, well, then why did you leave LA? I mean, I don't know. It's like that's the reason why. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me. But no, I don't think Ant was throwing any smoke screen up there. I think it's probably right on. And at some point before August, maybe LeBron will decide where he wants to play basketball next year.
I've got another question about the Wolves and their hopes and dreams or whatever of acquiring LeBron, and if it does happen or doesn't happen, where they've been, where they're going, where they're at. Of course, the Twins off to a rough start after a pretty good first half, or at least right about 500, and they were right there now, and they've lost 3 in a row, and Ryan just got clobbered yesterday, a franchise record for most homers given up in a game. Vikings, Wild, other topics to get to, World Cup, so we'll get to all of that. And 3M Open coming to town. When we return, we'll take a break. We'll come back. He's the legendary Mark Rosen. Tennessee, though, has a keyword for us brought to you by BigDeck.com.
Yeah, the fan and BigDeck.com want to give you a shot to win bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Just enter the keyword green at KFAN.com right now for your chance of winning. That keyword is green. Enter now at KFAN.com.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Common East Tennessee, Mark Rosen here. Rose, you're getting ripped, which is nothing new. This one says, I take Waymos in Austin, Texas a few times a week. They save thousands of lives with drunk and distracted humans. They're always 100% attentive and will eliminate 95% of traffic fatalities overnight. People need to get over the few and far between Waymo incidents when hundreds of people are getting killed every day by human error. Might be something to it. Might be something.
I don't doubt that. I just have never seen. Like I said, it's more of.
You think you're a better driver than Waymo?
Fear of the unknown more than anything. I mean, how do you feel about it? Would you?
Oh, no, I'm kind of with you. Okay, I said the same thing. I didn't know. It's like the headless horseman.
Trepidation is natural.
Question.
It's like the headless horseman. You know what I'm saying? I said, do I really trust a headless horseman? I don't think so. But
question for you. Yeah. Very controversial.
All right.
If Rosen had or myself or you had a Waymo self-driving car that you owned.
Yep.
And you were to get in an accident that was your car's fault. Do we still need to have car insurance? Because shouldn't it be at the fault of Waymo then? I mean, why should I be at fault for my self-driving car causing the accident? And then, do I even need to have car insurance ananymore?
Huh. That's
that sounds good to me.
That's way more controversial than I thought we were going to get.
That was very Lori Amsterdam like right there.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very Jetsons like. It's very futuristic.
It is. It's very futuristic.
See those flying cars and all this sort of thing that we used to watch as kids. Watching those shows, thinking, well, it's here. I mean, I'm not saying it's not going to be. I hope it works. The question was, how do you feel about it? I said, right now, I'd be a little hesitant. That's all. But yeah. I think it'd be kind of fun to try it out.
Well, especially if it does save lives, if it's that reliable. And I think you might be right.
Yeah, of course it is.
There are issues with it, but yeah, we distracted drunken drivers and just bad drivers. Just sometimes not even that. I said some people, their driving reflexes aren't good. You're on a busy freeway. It's 3-4 lanes. People are going 65, 70 miles an hour. Somebody decides to make a change lanes too quickly. You panic a little bit, hit your brakes too much, and all of a sudden, you're not quick enough to just change lanes yourself, look quickly if your blind spot go, and then all of a sudden it's boom, 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 and then there's a major accident. But nonetheless, so do you think it's possible, or is this crazy, that Conley, the architect, the GM, president of basketball operation, whatever his title is with the Wolves, when they decided to trade Naz Reid, Randall gone, both gone, those are your options at power forward, right? And that's where we need one. That he maybe was really not putting all his eggs in one basket, but sort of kind of really keeping his fingers crossed. I think we can get LeBron to come here, and then that takes care of the power forward situation. That maybe he was counting. I don't know about counting on it 100%, but maybe had a really good feel that could happen. Or do you think no? They, regardless of LeBron's decision, they needed to make the moves they made, and they were going to have to solve the power forward position in one way, shape, or form.
No, that would be pretty short-sighted on Connolly's part, and he's not that. He hasn't accumulated that kind of cachet in the NBA by making decisions like that. To count on LeBron, I mean, that's just, we all know how crazy. No, that's not, I don't think that was in the cards. I don't think that was in his mindset. I'm not saying they didn't obviously have made a very strong pitch from a basketball standpoint and everything else to try to get him here. But no, I don't think there was any reason that he would be going, well, look, it's LeBron or bust.
Right.
We're not going to have a power forward if he doesn't decide to come here, because that's just, who thought Minnesota would ever even be part of the conversation? And the longer this has gone on, it seems like the less likely it is now that Minnesota, it's changed a lot, I think, in the last week. We're like, maybe the longer this goes on, Minnesota's got a chance. Now it's like, Minnesota's got no chance. That's the general consensus. But then even Rich Paul said today, LeBron's guy, like, I don't know what he's going to do. He's not tipping his hand to anybody. There's not one source out there, as tight as all these NBA sources are, that has really come out and said, I got it. He is going to Philly, or he is going to Golden State, or he's going back to Cleveland. No one, they've speculated, and that's what they get paid for, but no one's close enough that LeBron has tipped his hand to really say where he's going. So because of that, I guess everything's on the table. But the Wolves have to go about their business as if he's not coming here. Yeah. And, whatever, if it's internal, that's what they're going to do with it, kind of shaking the roster up a little bit, going a little smaller, having Terrence Shannon play a little bit more up front. There's a combination of things that are going to hopefully, Berenger maybe come back and.
Well, they talk about Berenger maybe even playing some power forward. He was even quoted as saying, I think I can play there, but I haven't had a lot of experience there. So maybe that's the route they go. Because, again, I don't have any free agent roster in front of me, or, they can always trade for somebody too, but I just don't know what the power forward market is out there. I think it's slim, is it not? I don't think they're not growing on. Great power forwards ain't growing on trees.
No, there's options out there, and I think, they're spending a lot of time in that office over there trying to figure all this out with Chris Finch and their scouting staff, and I'm sure they got a plan B and C, but, in the meantime, even the commissioner kind of weighed in, going, "Hey, we're waiting to release the schedule, LeBron. You may want to make a decision." I mean, as if whatever team LeBron goes on, he's going to dictate how many games that team is going to be on national television. Adam Silver said as much. I mean, he said LeBron sells. I mean, the sooner you make up your mind, the quicker we can make our national TV schedule. So that tells you the power that the guy still has at 41 or whatever he's going to be. Yeah.
There's a text message that came in. It says, I'm shocked Common doesn't have a Waymo. Seems like having things on autopilot is his MO. Oh, isn't that funny? Oh, you find that funny, Mr. Rosen? You're laughing and smiling.
That's a pretty good line.
Yeah, you find that funny, don't you? Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Figured you would.
Very good.
Meanwhile, and Tana, this is for you too, Wild, nothing, all quiet there, right? I mean...
That's probably going to be quiet for a while because the Detroit Red Wings are getting a new GM, and we don't know who that is yet. Right. So I would imagine the Dylan Larkin thing is going to be on hold for a while.
Yeah.
The same thing with Quinn Hughes, right? That's not...
I haven't heard much on that either.
That can happen any time.
Yeah.
So in other words, we're just twiddling our thumbs and running in place.
All the GMs in front office go on vacation like the last half of July. That's their time to get away.
Yeah. Well, you know what? There's no time to sleep.
No time to rest.
Yeah.
No sleep till Brooklyn.
Well, they announced, the Wild did announce their announcing crew for next year, so we got that. It's pretty much the same cast of characters they've had, which is good, I think, for people. And that's an interesting thing. I think also, Tana, maybe you can weigh in on this. I read et cetera, that the Wild are going to be kind of bringing it in-house with the NHL, much like the way the Twins have done with MLB, that their broadcast, over-the-air broadcast rights will be kind of, maybe they're looking for a sister station to carry some games, but otherwise, there's no more FanDuel, right? So that's gone.
No, FanDuel Sports Network is done,
right.
So.
The story says games will be on a Wild channel, but it's in the same tier of cable and satellite TV packages as FanDuel Sports was. A select number of games will be over the air on a local channel, like 4 games were last season. A paid streaming option will also be available. Details on availability, channel locations, and cost of annual and monthly subscriptions to the streaming service will be announced before the start of the season. Blackout rules will still apply. So,
that's just the way it's going to go. I mean, I think that there's, obviously the consumer, the last thing they want to do is pay any more money to watch these teams, and I think that's the one thing they're trying to avoid at all costs. But it's more of it kind of going in house and what they're doing, and it's a changing landscape. I mean, look what happened at ESPN today. They laid off a lot of really good reporters, including kind of our guy, we call him our guy, Tom Pelissero, was laid off at ESPN today. And not that he's going to be out of work long. I think he's at the NFL Network. He's another year to go, I think I read on his contract. But more importantly, it's like, whoa, wow, what are they doing over there? These guys are, Carl Ravitch, who's been there for 30 years, was laid off today. So these are some really established
a lot of money to be spent, Mark, how to save everybody's cost cut. Everybody.
Yeah, they are. No, they absolutely are. 100%. You're right. Some people get paid all the big bucks, and the other ones get the crumbs. And not that Tom was getting crumbs. He's not sure he's making a good salary, but the fact they laid him off is, it's kind of like, whoa.
Well, my guess he was probably making pretty good money. You're not laying off, you're laying off guys making some bigger money. So he's probably doing well. Now, a couple of quick text messages. One suggesting that, is it possible LeBron is waiting to see where his wife can get a job? Because, the job market tend to be, and then they got insurance and, there's things to do. Maybe she wants to work, And then there's this one that says, there are people waiting to make their state fair plans until Rosen announces the days he'll be joining the program. Will you be recovered from your knee injury soon enough that you'll be at the fair? Because people want to come, like many people want to go see the swine barn or the cattle barn or the Midway or, the giant slide. They want to see Mark Rosen.
You could book it. I'll be there.
Okay. Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I want to make sure.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm getting there. I'm getting closer. So it takes time. I don't want to rush it, but I got to get ready for the Vikings more importantly than the state fair.
Yeah, we're starting to put our Viking Common Man program appearances together, and I'm out for most of August. It's going to be you and Tennessee doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I got lots of stuff to do. I got vacations to go on. I don't want to take vacation once the season starts. I will be there. I did change my vacation plans for joint practice. I'm not going to miss that. There's no way I'd miss joint practices. Not a chance.
Against the Ravens.
Were you going to tell me that?
Right.
Well, I'd tell you about what?
Well, if you've switched your vacation plans.
Oh, that was a joke.
Oh.
I didn't switch. Because I was never planning to take off the joint practices and then have it. I just thought it was funny to say, look, I'm so dedicated to my craft.
Got it.
Vikings that, I wouldn't.
Sorry, I missed that one.
Because last year I missed joint practices because of vacation. So
you missed J.J. McCarthy putting on a clinic.
I did. Well, you know what? And what I really missed was that apparently you could hear the spirals. Was it cutting through the wind or whatever it was? One more segment to go with Rosie. He joins us next here on The Fan.
You're listening to The Common Man.
Well, you guys taught me.
Just a broadcast note for you to make sure we're perfectly clear. While the Wild television situation is ever changing, the Wild will continue. The Fan will continue to be the radio home, the audio home. Yeah, of the Minnesota Wild. Just so people know, we're straight and strong. It's what we do. That's the voice of the legendary Mark Rosen, along with Tennessee. I was very honored today, Mark Rosen, to be invited to speak at the Twin Cities Dunkers meeting to Interlochen.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Since 1948, it's been a tradition of excellence. I joined a very esteemed list of speakers, including former heavyweight champion of the world Jack Dempsey, George Mikan, Patty Berg, Roger Hornsby, Sam Snead, Jackie Robinson, Ted Williams, Jack Nicklaus, Common Man Dan Cole, Althea Gibson, Pete Rozelle, Bobby Bell, Elgin Baylor, Joe Garagiola, Lee Trevino, and Howard Cosell, and many others. And I was there, Mark Rosen. You must be proud of me.
I am very proud of you, and I can't. You stand out among those giants of the industry, and I will tell you very quick. I'm happy it's over at Interlochen now. I know it's a monthly meeting. I'm anxious to hear what you talk about, but you mentioned Ted Williams. I remember I was pretty wet behind the ears when I was at CCO hanging out, and Dave Moore, the legendary newscaster, was taking Ted Williams over to the Dunkers at that time. I can't remember where it was, Minneapolis Club or something. And I got a chance to tag along, basically, in his wake and walk down the street.
His wake? His wake? Had he died before his appearance?
No, I guess when I say wake, I mean, the jet stream that Ted Williams.
Right, okay, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Yeah. The man never wore a tie, I don't think, in his life. Ted was always very proud not to have to wear a tie, and had the coat and the open shirt, and was Ted Williams. And here's Dave talking baseball with him. I'm just fly on the wall, as they say, and listening and admiring, and so that was a pretty cool thing. So good for you. What'd you talk about?
Well, you'll find this might come as a surprise to you, but I talked about me.
Yourself?
Well, because you know me, I don't like talking about myself. I don't. It makes me uncomfortable. Actually, it really wasn't about me. I was chosen as the moderator for Muzzy Donahue. Do you know the Muzzy Donahue story? Muzzy Donahue.
I'm sorry, what story?
Muzzy Donahue. Do you know who he is? Muzzy.
I do not.
He went to St. Thomas Academy. He played golf at Boston College. He just won the Minnesota State Open last week. He shot 22 under par. Muzzy and several friends sent letters of recommendation to Hollis Kavner, who is the tournament director at 3M Open. Every PGA tournament has allowed 4 sponsor exemptions. They're not going to, within reason. They can select anybody they want within reason. It can't be Mark Rosen, Common Man Dan Cole, Meat Sauce Tennessee. It's got to be somebody who's got some golfing skills. And so Hollis responded to Muzzy and said, okay, but I have to interview you first. So you need to show up at the TPC Friday. That was this past Friday at 1:30, and I'm going to have to interview you. So Muzzy's all freaked out. I didn't know him interview. And then he thought, man, maybe I didn't prepare well enough for this. But he shows up. They sit him down. There's cameras everywhere. They say, the cameras are just to film Hollis. It's a day in the life of the executive director of the tournament. He says, okay. Hollis goes, a lot of people want this spot, Muzzy. So I got to ask you some questions. He goes, and the questions are in the box in front of you. So there's a box there. So Muzzy opens it up, and inside it's a caddy bib with his name on it. And Hollis says, do you have somebody that can wear that and carry your bag next Thursday? So that's how he got his invite into this. So he had an exemption, so he's just 25-year-old kid. He's only played one event ever, and that was one of the PGA Americas. That's like you have the PGA Tour, then you have the Corn Fair, and then PGA America. So it's like AA, but he's only played one event, so he got the invitation. It's a dream come true. Hollis is the kind of guy that does that. He's given a lot of exemptions to local people. So the kid's got a dream of a lifetime. He's going to be there, and he was a great kid. And I interviewed him today, and then opened it up for questions. But yeah, it was really good, and so we certainly we wish him the best at the tournament. But yeah, he'll be there, and so yeah, it was pretty cool. So. Speaking of that,
you should pair him up with Scotty Scheffler. That would be fun.
Well, the last question. Well, that obviously won't happen. But what I did say to him was, I did say if you had I did the genie's bottle bit that I do. I said if you had the genie's bottle and you could rub it, I would hope the first thing you would ask the genie is for 3 more wishes, and then I bet you'd like to be Sunday afternoon on the first tee with Scotty Scheffler. And he laughed. He said, "Yeah, that would be a dream come true." But yeah, so he's hoping to play. So it's one of those feel good stories, and hopefully he plays well. He's obviously got a lot of talent. Shoot 22 under. I don't care where you're at, what tournament it is.
Right.
That's pretty good scoring. Speaking of that, Scotty's still showing up. Ryan Fox, who just won the Open Championship, he was in the field. He was already scheduled to play. No shock here. After winning the Open Championship, he withdrew from the tournament, so he will not be playing. Now, I think a lot of people were excited, me included. I was thinking he's in the field. Is he going to come? But you win the Open Championship, a major. Kid's he's not a kid anymore. He's 39 years old, from New Zealand. He's had a decent career, but nothing that would, I knew the name in passing. If you'd have said Ryan Fox, I would have said baseball player. No, he's a golfer. Oh, yeah. I know. I've seen his name before and seen him on TV, but, never like to this extent. He's out. Jordan Spieth quietly withdrew as well. And, we've been discussing that, when Spieth first burst onto the scene, he won 3 majors in about 2 days. I mean, it was incredible that the pace he was winning. Right. So young and the swing so good. And everybody thought he was going to be like the Scotty Scheffler of today or Rory McIlroy, and it just didn't pan out. Since then, he's really struggled. And, during Open Week, they were talking to him. They did extensive stories on him because he won his Open Championship at Royal Birkdale, which is where they played it this year. And, he was talking about it. He still felt he could still get back to where he was before. And as I'm watching it, it almost seemed like he didn't believe himself what he was saying. And I think when you shoot 10 over par and you miss the cut, I think the last thing I think he's really doing some soul searching. I think this is really, I don't know if he's ever been at rock bottom, if there is a rock bottom, but I kind of think this might be it. And he just has no interest in coming to play. And I don't think it's just going to Minneapolis to, the hot, steamy Midwest.
No.
I don't care. I don't think he would care if it was the John Deere Classic or whatever tournament it was. He's just not interested. And it's like the mighty have fallen, So.
Yeah, you wonder what's going on. And so he's got a sports psychologist, if it's a swing thing, if it's a mental thing, what's going on. And he's obviously can play some pretty good golf, but it just always goes haywire at some point, and you almost expect it to happen. It is good that obviously that Scotty Scheffler kept his commitment coming here, which is a really big deal. I mean, if anyone had told you that Ryan Fox, when he was teeing off on Sunday morning in his final round, hey, he's coming to the TPC next week. Who?
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
Then he had that astonishing back nine in particular. I'm sure you love the pace of play, the way he plays so fast. It's really fun to watch him just get to the ball and let it go. He goes, I know what I'm doing. He goes, I know the marker. I know how many yards I have. I'm not just grabbing a club and hitting the ball.
On the 72nd hole, they hadn't even cleared the green yet, and he's hitting his shot onto the green. And then his playing partner, Sam Burns, putts out. He's barely picked his ball out of the hole, and there he is to putt the ball. And, I mean, he didn't waste any. He didn't look it over from as big a putt as it was to win an Open Championship. He didn't look at it from both sides. And I've said that half jokingly, but I've said it on the air forever, that I think some of these guys take way too much time looking things over, and they almost talk themselves out of it. I think part of that is they're just trying to get to that relaxed point, where they're really trying to slow down their breathing and all that. But yeah, I liked his pace of play, and he's confident. He was playing, like you say, I think, did he birdie 4 of his last 6 holes? I mean, he was just in 18 where he made birdie to win. I think 18 had only given up, 4 birdies the entire day. The final round, so yeah, good for him. And then, of course, Jason Day.
You don't overthink it.
And then Jason Day, former PGA champion, will be there. Max Homa and a bunch of others. But yeah, so some good stories coming out.
Field. It's still a good field. Yeah,
it is a good field. Speaking of the field, the Twins. We've talked quite a bit about them actually here because I think most people, despite the fact that it was a 1 game under 500 record, so not a great record, they were kind of a surprise team. I didn't expect them to even be 500. I thought they wouldn't even be close to that. And they go into the All-Star break, couple of games, 1 game below 500, couple of games out of first place in the AL Central. They already had if the season had ended that day, they were as a wild card team. They win their first game against the Cubs. Looked pretty good coming out of the All-Star break and had that streak. They'd won 8 of 9 series previous to the All-Star break, and then the last 3 days they took it on the chin. And last night, your ace. This is not what you want from him. Everybody's allowed a dud, but it's a franchise record: 6 home runs in 1 game. Joe Ryan suffers, and they get beat now from at least the enthusiasm, mild enthusiasm that I had for the club. Hey, this is better than I thought. It's kind of fun. It gives us a distraction in the summer. I was actually thinking they're going to be buyers. They maybe still could, but if this continues much longer, I mean, when the trade deadlines are in a week, the 3rd of October, August, is it? Boy, I don't know. I don't know if now what they're going to do, but it's kind of unfortunate to see.
Well, poor Joe Ryan got confused. He thought the home run derby in the All-Star game was last night, not a week ago Monday. So you can't blame him for getting confused with his dates. I watched the bottom of the first inning, and that's where Clemens, the Twins' second baseman, has been hitting the ball. Really speaking of hitting the ball, he had a sure double play ball which would have ended the inning, and he bobbled it enough that they couldn't get the force out at second or turn the double play, and then then the home run happened right after that, and then all of a sudden I looked at the box score and went, "Oh, I'm not going to put this on." It's already 8-2 or something.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I did the exact same thing. Turned the game on. It was 10-2. And not 10 to the hour. It was 10-2. Cleveland was leading the Twins. World Cup. You were crushed that Messi lost that game, I'm assuming?
No, I wasn't crushed at all. No, I mean, I thought Spain was the best team. They don't play an exciting brand. I mean, especially for our taste. I mean, I'm saying boring, but it's pretty close to it. And they just methodically took care of business. They were pretty much in control of what they wanted to do and neutralized Argentina. And then Argentina gets, one of their players gets a red card, so now they're down to playing with 10 players. And all of a sudden they have a sense of urgency because they have to try to tie it up to send it into potentially even penalty kicks. And where's this been the whole game? They had some great chances to tie it at the end, but I think overall.
I think part of that though was probably because Spain was just so good defense. They only gave up 1 goal in the entire World Cup. So my point is, maybe they did want to because I also think Spain probably at that point, while they were still trying to score, when Argentina had the ball, they locked into defense more, and I think that's probably why I guess maybe they had some more, and because of their urgency and maybe a little protection by Spain. But Spain's defense, did I have that right? Did they only surrender 1 goal in the entire World Cup?
Correct.
I mean, to me, that's astonishing.
Using common man's theory about any sport, defense wins championships, and
it's true.
That's what happened in the World Cup. And it was a great showcase. I mean, I think neutral fans maybe tuning in here and there have never really paid attention to it, considering it was 90% of it was in the United States. It was put on a hell of a showcase. I mean, packed stadiums, big stars with big moments, and after the U.S. got eliminated, I mean, like you asked me earlier, I said, no, I'm still very much into it. I watched, of course, I'm home right now, but watched all those big matches to keep an eye on. And it was the most exciting final from that standpoint. But I'm sure fans of Spain, they can look at some of the games what we play and go, well, that's boring. I mean, our football is not very exciting. They stand around in a huddle all day. But it was a good showcase, and I hope that it's going to be a long time before the U.S. gets it back, but it was great to see.
When I was at Dunger's, they talked about, at the very beginning, they say some of the upcoming events, and one of them, of course, is the annual visit by P.J. Fleck, He will be there, and of course,
Yes.
PJ's always very enthusiastic, and there's never a boring moment with him. And I know it's still a little early. We'll start. Well, obviously, once we get to the fair, we'll talk. As you know, then we get intensive on local football, including the Gophers and Vikings.
Right.
But you have any thoughts or hearing anything about what we can expect from the Gophers this year? More of the same?
I mean, I think they should be better, obviously, but I think the big thing is Drake Lindsey looks like he's a legitimate quarterback, a big arm, big kid. He's got a lot of, I think he'll figure it out a little bit more, making some mistakes last year, throwing the ball in the coverage where he didn't need to. But I think more than anything, in this day and age, you got to have, last year I think I saw something, Fernando Mendoza, who ended up winning, of course, the Heisman Trophy and the national championship. At the beginning of last season, he was ranked like the 17th best quarterback in the nation. So you don't know. Now, Indiana obviously locked in and then were able to capitalize on nil and everything else to put together a phenomenal football team. And I don't think they're going to be too far off of that again this year, but not that they could say that the Gophers are in that category because they're not. But I think a guy like Drake Lindsey can elevate, a really good group of wide receivers and offense that they have. I think he's the most promising quarterback this team's had in a long time. So I think that from just a pure excitement level, we always talk about quarterbacks, no matter if it's the Vikings, Gophers, or whomever, is something to say. He's potentially going to be, at least in Minnesota, maybe a household name and probably a future NFL player.
Really? You think that good? Okay.
I think he's projected to be. I don't know what, again, it's early to suggest what round he'd be going in, but I'm using Mendoza as an example of saying, right. How do you go from 17th best quarterback in the nation to the number one overall pick in the NFL? So, and he may not play right away. That's a whole other thing with Kirk Cousins out there in Vegas. He may sit for a little bit, but I'm sure they'll be anxious out there, Raiderland, to see this kid play and wanting him to get on there maybe even sooner than he's ready. But we've been through that here before as well. But so I think to answer your question, there's a lot of good players on the team.